Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Garden Roundtable. But today we are going to be taking a look at what is happening in the TMC. This is a party that shot to the national imagination when Mamata Banerjee actually began her national ambitions. She was planning to come to the center. We were told she would be the new Congress. She even took away a whole lot of Congress leaders to prove this point. It literally, in fact, the whole party in Manipur, when it was like a cut and paste model, that they were thinking that in every state, the Congress unit would just leave and join the Congress. We were also told that this is the brainchild of Prashant Kishore, the election strategist who helped her in the West Bengal win, and that her nephew, who was promoted, who is the number two in the party, would then be the face of the state, and Mamta Banerjee would be the face of the center, the national ambition. Then, of course, we've heard that the party wanted to win Goa. They camped in Goa, but Mamta Banerjee has not gone to Goa. After that, stories came in of differences between Mamta Banerjee and her nephew. Some say the nephew was being propped up by Prashant Kishore. Mamta Banerjee may have distanced herself from Prashant Kishore. So, what is happening in the TMC and where does Prashant Kishore fit in all this? Is there going to be a aunt versus nephew fight, just like what happened in other family parties? Something we're going to be discussing with a panel of experts and insiders. I have Jayan Ghoshal, who's also just come out with his book. In fact, I have a copy of it on Mamta Banerjee, where
Thank you.
he talks about Mamta's ambitions beyond 21, beyond that she is going to be the prime ministerial face. Radhika Ramaseshan, she's a political commentator and a columnist. Rashid Kidwai, he's a political commentator, columnist, author of 24 Akbar Road. Ashutosh, founding editor of satyahindi.com. Jayanto, what is happening in the TMC? You are the inside voice and the authority. So, first of all, within the TMC, what is happening between the aunt and the nephew?
No, actually, at the outset, I want to say one thing, that differences of opinion is a reality. Actually, with father and son also, we have differences of opinions. It happens in our family also. So if I say that there is no difference of opinion, I will not be correct. So there is a way of thinking, the old approach, new approach. There are a lot of issues are there. But in spite of that, I'm saying that if there is no major rift, there is no major groups, or the successor is Abhishek, and Mamta has decided. There is no change on the succession issue. But the issue was actually more PK than Abhishek. Prashant Kishore's role, and whether Prashant Kishore will continue or not, that future will determine what future will be. But I can say that there is a major rough weather, and not with Abhishek PK, it is more with Mamata and PK. And what is the reason? The reason is only one liner, that PK's role as a political role, Mamata didn't accept. Gradual increase of the intervention in the political nominations, political. So the Mamata is saying that his role should be like strategies, advisor. You can give the inputs, you can give the names. I can veto also. So you cannot. And latest issue was that PK's name as working president of the party also came to the table of Mamata, and Mamata said that I cannot accept it because the political role it can't be. PK, and another realization of Mamta, that if she wants to go for 2024, the roadmap, major regional parties are also not very happy with PK. Like Congress Mamata relationship, it is more actually the PK's personal recent encounters with Congress leadership that also influenced the strategy. Mamata is actually not anti-Congress. She is very fond of Sonia Gandhi. There is a communication error with Rahul Gandhi. And Mamata knows that without Congress, anti-Modi coalition or anti-Modi platform, historically, it couldn't happen in our country ever. So Mamata is a 7 times Lok Sabha member, and she is not understanding this, or only we are understanding it is not the correct picture. But there is a but. What Sharad Pawar also told Mamata, and Sharad Pawar told publicly also, that the caveat is that Congress should not behave like a Jamindar party. A lot of change happened. The regional party's role has become more important nowadays. So we will lead. So this is the premises we have to accept, and then the regional parties will come. So this Jamindari feudal mindset should be changed. So now the non-Congress, non-BJP parties should come together, and that doesn't mean that Congress will not be there. But whether Congress will lead, that should not be the presupposition. Mamata is not saying that I will lead, but Mamata is saying that Congress should not, say that we will lead. So there will be a new UPA. Restructuring of new UPA should take place after the UP election, whatever the result is. There should be a new convener, new structure, new roadmap. Mamata wants in that way, actually. That is the Mamata's
So
roadmap
you've given
idea.
us a lot of food for thought. Let me take it to the other panelists and I'll come back to you. The role of PK, is PK then responsible for, isn't Mamta, she's a seasoned politician, so surely he would be feeding into some ambition of her own, or can we blame PK for all this? Radhika.
It's not fair to blame Prashant Kishore. I mean, Prashant Kishore was hired for a particular purpose, and it's not really clear that if, in the context of TMC, if he wanted to punch above his weight as a political strategist. I'm still not very clear whether he had larger ambitions. In the case of when he, in his association with the JDU, certainly his political ambitions were manifest. And Nitish Kumar also pandered to him up to a point. He made him vice president of the party. But I'm surprised how a seasoned politician like Nitish didn't anticipate the kind of backlash that you saw in the JDU once PK's role became larger. Anyway, that chapter is over, but I mean, it's a very useful chapter in the career of PK. I mean, I always refer to go back to Bihar when I'm trying to analyze PK and his role in various other parties that he's got involved with later. And it's not been a very happy engagement with any party that he's been associated with after that. Of course, I mean, Jayanto gave a very, very good summation of everything. And, so he started having problems with TMC sooner than later. He's had problems with Akhilesh when he was associated in 2017. I mean, that alliance with the Congress, any case, I think Akhilesh was going to lose that election, but the alliance with the Congress on the advice of PK seemed to be his Waterloo in 2017. And then his engagement with Stalin is still not very clear. To what extent he was involved with the Tamil Nadu elections, which Stalin won, but one didn't hear of any friction between PK and Stalin. Maybe it wasn't a very enduring kind of relationship. So the sum and substance is that wherever he's gone, he's kind of burnt his bridges with the leaders, including the BJP. I have it from BJP sources who said that he became very ambitious once the BJP won 2014, and he kind of thought that he was the catalyst for Modi's victory, which is anathema in a cadre-driven party like BJP. Nobody liked the sound of that. And he wanted a role in the party, which obviously he didn't get. So he quit the party. So I think, it's important for PK himself to introspect and see what exactly his expectations are from the various parties, and whether he can tailor his own, predilections to suit the needs of the political parties. It's not easy at all to work in politics. All of us who've covered politics, seen parties up close, know that. I mean, it's probably the toughest kind of place to be in. And I think PK hasn't quite got a hang of it so far.
Why hasn't PK got the hang of it, Rashid? He's an old timer, old hand. If we've got the hang of the fact that his role is a strategist and nobody will allow him to just walk in and take over the party. He tried it with Nitish. I'm told he wanted to do it with the Congress. Mamta ke saath bhi he's running into rough weather for this very reason. So what is happening?
So Priya, I think a lot of points have been covered by my good friends Radhika and Jayanta Ghoshal. The key point here is that party-run regional parties or even the family-run Congress, there is always a kind of problem because the leadership tends to be very whimsical, and for any technocrat or a professional or a person whose hands-on approach, you always have a problem. Second thing, leadership always enjoys a kind of cushion because they always, if anything goes wrong, it's always, such a professional or, people who are kind of part of them, they are to be blamed. So it saves the leadership. As Kesri ji had famously said, कि Congress leadership एक आग का तपता हुआ गोला है, हाँ, सूरज की तरह, आप पास जाओगे तो जल जाओगे और दूर रहोगे तो ठंड से मर जाओगे. So to strike that balance, it's very difficult. And if you look at life of Nandan Nilekani and several others, Manmohan Singh is an exception. They always have a problem. They come with a lot of, kind of potential and promise and hope, and suddenly somehow they don't gel. So PK's transition from a kind of professional to a politician, obviously it will not be smooth, because as Radhika ji has pointed out, politicians, fancy themselves as real masters, and they do, beyond a point, they don't like advice. But I am saying that, to put, whether it's Goa situation or otherwise, to put it on PK's doorstep is largely unfair, simply because the leadership is within its rights when they take that advice and execute it. So Mamta cannot say that, no, I was misled. See, she consciously, whatever the importance that was given to PK, had her consent. And just one last point, I don't think all is over. I mean, there I have a slight disagreement with Radhika. I don't think all is over, because political parties, they want somebody, they want a glue, a cementing force. As it happened that, in 1977, people thought that it would be Jayaprakash, but then Morarji became. In 1989, people thought that it's going to be Devi Lal, and VP Singh became. So, you need someone to propose it. Of course, we all know what happened in United Front. Family, Trinamool is a Congress by another name. It has, that mother and son tussle, as Jayanta was, one man, one post. All these things we have covered and seen. Doesn't mean there are serious differences between Abhishek and Mamta.
Ashutosh, your comments on what is happening. And first, let's talk about PK's role. Then after the break, we'll go into the TMC inner workings.
Priya, I do not know whether this analogy works or not. But let's go back to history, in medieval history. The problem with the PK is that PK doesn't realize that he's a Baram Khan. He's not the emperor. He's not the Akbar. So whichever political party he joins, and whichever political leader of the party he's working with, he thinks that it is he who is instrumental for the victory. It's a similar thing which happened with the Bayram Khan. And finally, one fine morning, Emperor Akbar, he decided that enough of the Bayram Khan. Now you please go, take a sannyas, and I'll run the country. And then how this Mughal empire became so robust, it was not because of the Bayram Khan, but it is because of the Akbar. The problem with the PK is very simple. The PK is extremely ambitious. He's so ambitious, I can tell you from my own experience itself, because when he, long back, there was a meeting between Arvind Kejriwal and the PK, and the proposal was that one man, one post, that Arvind, you remain as the chief minister of the Delhi, I'll run the party, I'll become the national convener. And then once he had gone, Arvind looked at me and said, ये क्या समझता है, मैं बेवकूफ आदमी को मैं पार्टीज को सौंप दूंगा. That's the problem with it. This is exactly the same thing he wanted in Janata Dal United when he was thrown out from the Modi's camp. He wanted to take Janata Dal United under his wings. And that's when the Nitish Kumar got very uncomfortable. Similar thing he tried with the Congress party. He has a long negotiation with the Congress party. The Congress party, I was told, was willing to be made as one of the general secretaries of the party, but he wanted to be the working president, directly reporting to Rahul Gandhi. In a way, he wanted to control the party. And so a party with such a long standing, how can they mortgage the party to somebody who's a newcomer? And with the similar thing is happening with Mamata Banerjee also. And I am told the kind of money which was spent in Goa, and that is what is proving to be that PK is a good feedback manager. And this I have been saying for the last 4-5 months. And Priya, you remember that in your shows I have been saying this. He is not a politician. When you are dealing with a politician, politics is a different game altogether. Politics has got different reflexes altogether. Politics has got different impulses altogether. Somebody who can be extremely intelligent, somebody who can be extremely academic, somebody who can be great political mind. But to be a politician, it requires different ball game altogether. PK had performed when Modi was there. PK has performed when the Nitish Kumar was there. PK has performed when Arvind Kejriwal was there. PK performed when Mamata Banerjee was there. PK performed when Jagan Mohan Reddy was there. When the PK had to perform in Goa, it's a big zero. You ask anybody in Goa, the kind of money which is spent by PK and the kind of people he wanted to join Trinamool Congress. You know what is the example? Luisin Valerio, who was a lost cause for the Congress party, he manipulated PK, became a Rajya Sabha member, and he is not willing to contest election in Goa. And now who is a gainer? It's not the PK, but the Luisin Valerio. At the age of 70, he became a Rajya Sabha member. So I'm saying PK is brilliant. PK has a good knack of managing things, but PK is not Mamata Banerjee, and that's what he has to realize. He was a Baram Khan. He will remain a Baram Khan. If he wants to be the king and the emperor and Akbar, then he will fail.
Can I just add very quickly, since he has brought in Baram Khan's name, today is a day when many moons ago, actually, Humayun had died and Baram Khan had actually crowned a 9-year-old Akbar. And, there was no crown because, as you know, Humayun was in wilderness. It happened in Punjab, which is having elections now. So what Baram Khan did was he got this mud and he built a throne out of mud, some masonry work, and crowned, 9-year-old boy, and did so much of hard work on the part of Baram Khan. And you know what happened to Baram Khan? He was kind of, blinded and sent out for to perform Hajj. And when he was passing through Gujarat, land of Gujarat, he was apparently slaughtered.
Okay.
I said in the beginning, it might not be the right analogy. But Baram Khan, in 1560, when he was thrown out by Akbar, the Mughal Empire, which was created after 1560, is everybody to know.
Jayanta Ghoshal, first of all, you do quickly because we have very little time, is within the TMC, if what is happening, is Abhishek going to continue or will he be scarred by his association with PK? And where does that leave new people like Shushmita Sen and all who have joined?
No, I'm telling you, number one, Abhishek Mamata relationship is perfectly all right.
Okay.
And they met also recently. One-to-one meeting also took place. Number two, PK, what I wanted to say, that PK's contribution to TMC, I also don't deny. The welfare schemes, especially before assembly election, the whole campaign, it was actually architect was PK. So I am not saying that PK's role in coming days is completely Mamata is disassociating. I'm not saying that because I don't have that information. Although you can terminate an agreement anytime, but I think Mamata has given a message to check PK, but she didn't say publicly also and covertly also that thus far and no further, Ram nahi kar diya. Number three, so the role can be marginal, the role can be restricted, because maybe there is a view inside the TMC that hostile PK may not be complementary before 2024 for TMC or the opposition unity also. So you have to be very careful to handle PK also. So these are the thought inside TMC. Number three, this is very important, that Mamata Banerjee, she knows that it is not the issue of prime ministership, but one by one, like the president election is coming in April. So there should be a consensus among the opposition parties. So she is planning to hold a non-BJP chief ministers conference in Delhi very soon. She is talking to KCR, she is talking to Stalin and all these leaders. So this is actually the right time, but she is not keen to quit the chief ministership and just for Abhishek. Just there should not be any she is giving the message to Abhishek that you should not be also in hurry, you should be also very careful. Still it is a transition. So I think now Mamata, after this poll victory yesterday, she has gone to North Bengal because for the first time after 25 years TMC got the Shiliguri municipal victory. So now she wants to consolidate West Bengal first. Because 42 seats, 18 seats BJP took in 2019. Mamata is saying that to Abhishek that we have to regain those seats first.
First
So this
consolidate and
that
then, yeah. I'm going to
unity is
quickly
there.
get the others in because we have very little time. So 2 minutes
Yeah.
each. But Radhika, your quick reaction to what has been said so far, especially on this whole role of PK, where do you see him going?
Oh, where do I see PK going? I mean,
Staying.
yeah, but as Jayanto said, that he's not sundered his links with the TMC, and the TMC also perhaps realizes that there is a space for him, keeping to 2024 in mind. I mean, it's not as though Mamta has prime ministerial ambitions, but she does see a national role for herself. But a very important point was made by Jayanto. She has to consolidate her position in Bengal and probably in the East. The East is actually fertile territory. Even I couldn't understand why she jumped to the extreme West and Goa. Because I will say, because if you remember, after her glorious 2007 victory, Mayawati also sprouted wings. I mean, she became so ambitious, and her ambitions were fanned by the CPM, Prakash Karat, at that time. I mean, she fancied herself as a prime ministerial candidate. And what happened? In 2009, Congress did very well in the Lok Sabha elections in Uttar Pradesh, and the ground started slipping from beneath Mayawati's feet. So this is a lesson to all these regional leaders who, I mean, fine, you have your ambitions. Of course, you're going to try and soar above your state. But you have to keep your ground within the state, because imagine if Mamta, I mean, it's not about to happen, but if Bengal starts slipping from Mamta's hands, then she is really nowhere. It's the most valuable piece of real estate that she has at the moment.
Okay.
Of course, there's Tripura, there is Assam. These are all states which should beckon the TMC.
So good advice, Rashid. If the focus on the east rather than looking westward. So what made Mamta go to the west, and why hasn't she gone to Goa to campaign at all? So did she just disassociate herself? Then why did she allow PK and Abhishek Banerjee to focus on Goa?
I don't think, I'm not reading too much into this, because she may have realized that Bengal doesn't have much to offer, and that's perfectly fine for the political party, because as Jayanto is saying, she's firmly rooted in Bengal, and that's where she's consolidating. See, PK's career has a promise or a potential in the sense that it depends upon what happens on March 10, or whether there is a kind of national platform or a kind of national front is proposed. Because see, the PK has a very national vision or perspective. He is not a regional force. So in that sense, his eyes are focused on 24. And as there was a film song in this, if he gets a role, as there was a film song in this, "Tu mere पैरों में घुंघरू बांध ले, फिर तू मेरी चाल देख ले." We have to wait for that moment.
No, but actually, there's only one sentence I want to mention, that Goa actually PK's idea, and Mamata Banerjee accepted. She thought that Goa, perhaps PK knows better than her, but immediately she realized that it's a mistake. She stopped going Goa. So, but actually it was PK's idea. Like Akhilesh realized that the Congress alliance, it was mistake, and this time he didn't. So like Mamata also got the lesson, because the brand equity of PK is very high. So what PK thinks, PK says, first at the outset, everybody thinks that ये हो जाएगा, तब तो PK बोल रहा है, तब तो गोवा कर लेगा. So that perception was there. So that was a mistake.
Okay, Ashutosh, last words from you. Then is Goa then his Waterloo? I saw that headline somewhere in some article also.
राशिद भाई ने गाना गाया तो मैं भी सोच देता हूँ, मुझको यारो माफ करना, मैं नशे में हूँ. After the Bengal victory, everybody thought that the Mamta is going to rule. And you remember what Pawan Verma has written in Times of India. And as if Mamata Banerjee is going to replace Congress party, and the Congress party is replaceable. And if not, then all the disgruntled people within the Congress party will leave Congress party and will join Mamata Banerjee. You remember that conversation which Pawan and I had, and Rashid Bhai was also there. So I wish the politics has been that easy. Even the weakest Congress party is like a giant before Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress, because the Congress party has spent more than 100 years, has connected with the people. It links with the people might be very, very weak. But to assume that just because somebody has won West Bengal and to propose a blueprint, then by 2024, Congress will be wiped out. Mamata Banerjee will become the prime ministerial candidate, will replace Congress party, and everybody will rest that a new Congress will emerge. That's the crux of Pawan Verma. And that's where the problem is. I keep saying this. Politics, I wish, had been so easy. People like me would have been there still.
Okay. On that note, thank you all for this very interesting and very comprehensive conversation, which I know is going to be watched a lot. But that's it. And Jayanto, on the end, congratulations on your book. I'm sure it's going to do very well. It's very well timed also. Thank you all for this conversation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.